This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I am Ramsey personality Rachel Cruz. On with me today, Ramsey personality George Camel. Welcome, George.
It's great to be here, Rachel.
I know. It's going to be a good show.
We had a great time last time, so we'll see what shenanigans we get into.
I may have rapped last time, so we'll see what happens on this day. But we're going to be taking your calls again about your life and your money at 888-825-5225. So we'll start off with Lon in St. Louis. Hey, Lon, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, thanks so much. How can we help?
I had a question on whether to sell. I'm 71. I'm retired, and my wife and I own 5 rentals. And I'm just debating whether everything. We're totally out of debt. Our main home is paid for, all our rentals, everything, the RV and everything. Just want to know if it would be wise to sell, is liquidate the rental property and live off that, or keep it renting. I'm kind of confused about what to do.
So all of the rentals are paid for?
Yes.
Way to go, Lon.
I know, it's amazing.
Have you even taken a moment to celebrate the fact that you guys have all these properties paid for in cash and no debt?
Oh, yeah, every day.
That's awesome. So what's your retirement look like outside of the rental properties?
Okay, we have about $650,000 in investments. And then, like I say, everything's paid for. And I have that in annuities and some in other investments. But I guess our gross income per year is about $115,000.
And you guys are still working?
No, we're both retired.
That's all from the investments. Does that include from the rental properties, the rental income, as well as pulling from investing?
Yes, and Social Security. Both of us have Social Security.
Okay.
Awesome.
And pensions. We both have small pensions.
So, Lon, what's making you ask to sell? What has caused that? Because you guys, I mean, you're doing great. If you guys are living on $115,000, which is awesome. Is it a headache keeping the tenants in and keeping up with everything, and it's exhausting, or what would be the main motivation for you? Because it's not necessarily money.
It's mainly about retiring totally. Because when you have rental property, even though I have it with a property manager now, the renters still call me because I've been with them for years.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do it anymore. I guess my rental properties are probably worth like $300,000 altogether. They're small rental units.
Yep.
And I'm just kind of confused. I've been renting for like 15 years. Different units. I just acquired these other properties about 10 years ago, and they're all in the same community, same neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, let's walk this out, Lon.
Missouri.
Let's say you sold all of these rental properties, and you made $300,000. How would that affect your income?
Well, it probably wouldn't affect that much. Because I kind of figured just pulling out X amount of dollars per unit, and until it liquidates totally, and that would be like, I'm looking like 10 to 12 years, and being 71, I just don't know if I want to keep renting. Basically, because I just don't want to keep renting.
I get that, Lon. I mean, I think the single family home rental, it is a part-time job. I mean, I come from a real estate family. My husband loves real estate. My dad obviously has a ton of it, and Winston works with that. So I know the headache that it can bring, even though it's an awesome investment, it's fun. But when you're 71 and you want to retire, you don't want a part-time job. So I would be very comfortable considering where you guys are, the fact that they're paid off everything. And it's a great market right now in general. Just to liquidate it and then reinvest some of that $300,000.
I think that would give you some more security and less headache right now. And you can stair-step it. You don't have to sell all 4 or 5 at once.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You could sell one and see where you guys are at and see at what point does the headache go away and You may not miss the income, and you go, oh, we're doing fine. We can still live off $100,000, and we've got a great retirement, and keep investing, and you guys should be fine.
That's right.
I feel good about this either way, but thanks for the call.
I know. Thanks, Lon, and great job.
Way to go. And I just wanted to celebrate him.
I know.
It's incredible.
You're like, do you know, Lon,
I thought he was going to say, well, I've got debt on all the rental properties. Yeah. We're in all this debt, and we're trying to retire. That's a different situation.
100%. So congratulations. That's awesome. Awesome, Lon. All right, up next is Donna from Charlotte. Hey, Donna. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are y'all?
Doing great. How can we help?
Question. A year ago, I lost both my parents. Not because of COVID, within about a 2-month period, but my mom was very savvy with her money, so they left me very well off. I have $500,000 in classic cars, and I've got probably over $1 million or more in stocks and IRAs, and my house, everything I own is paid for. But my question is, my financial advisor told me just to go online and do like a Mama Bear will, or should I go to like a lawyer and do something to make it? Because it is to me, it's a lot of money.
Sure.
I mean, I just don't want to do something Mickey Mouse and then somebody doesn't follow it through because I had it on just a piece of paper.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anytime there's somewhat of a complicated estate, I do think bringing in counsel is wise. I mean, you're going to pay for it, but almost, I mean, so even things like $500,000 in classic cars, I'm like, oh gosh, I wouldn't know exactly how to insure. Like, you may want someone to kind of speak into that, not just an online. Now, Mama Bear Legal Forms is an amazing company. They do incredible things. And for anyone that just needs a good will in place, a state-specific will, this is something that they definitely can still use. But Donna, yeah, right. I would say because of this money that's inherited and because of the uniqueness of part of the inheritance, it wouldn't hurt just to get outside counsel.
Like go to a lawyer, basically. Because I mean, I don't have any siblings. It's just me. So
and your point for this is for the will. Yeah,
I have nobody to leave it to, and I just don't. I'm just not one just to give it to whoever.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want my cousins. I know how that all works too, and I mean, it's
no judgment.
I don't like nobody.
I don't like anyone. Donna's got her cars and her money, and she's good.
But I mean, my mom was a chiefy. I think she must have grew up with Dave because she used to save the money in the envelopes and stuff. I remember it like yesterday. But
that's awesome.
She wouldn't spend her money, so I have. So
yeah, well, it's great, and I think there's a level of honoring your mom. And your dad, both your parents, their memory. And part of that, I think, as that next generation of parents who have killed it and done great and have some money and assets to pass down I think part of honoring that and stewarding that well is making sure that you're honoring them. And so
yeah, and I think your financial advisor's got a good head on their shoulders, so I'd lean on them to kind of assemble that team that can make sure that you protect what your mom left you and make sure that legacy is well used. Way to go.
Absolutely. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're not using Pure Talk for your wireless, you're paying too much. Pure Talk gives you the same great 5G coverage on the same 5G network as one of the big guys for half the cost. The average family saves over $800 a year. Go to puretalk.com and choose the affordable plan that's right for you. With their 30-day risk-free guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month.
You can't turn on your TV, radio, or open your news feed without hearing the latest and greatest plan to get rich quick. Crypto, real estate, inflation, single stocks. Everyone's talking about it. And maybe you've even considered jumping in 2022 because you don't want to miss another great opportunity that's out there. So on Thursday, January 13th, Dave, George, and I will be addressing these current hot topics and showing you the right way to build wealth in 2022. And before we came on the air just now, tickets to our Nashville event are almost sold out. So if you're lucky, you can still get a ticket in person. Because that's part of what we're doing now, which is so exciting of having people live now at these events. And we're also going to offer a free live stream for you guys who are able to join this event. Building wealth the right way is too important of a conversation not to share with everyone. So you can go to RamseySolutions.com/wealth to register for this free live stream on Thursday, January 13th. Let's build real wealth in 2022 together the right way.
I can't wait.
It's going to be great events. I miss events. I miss being out on the road. And yeah,
we're dipping our toes in the water. We're just going down the road.
I know. That's right. Just down the road.
But you, Dave, and I, we're going to have a good discussion. I'm excited about talking about all of the things that people are worried about, freaking out about right now. Crypto, inflation, real estate. What do I do? What do I not do?
Yep.
How do I not get screwed? What if I could make $1 million? And it's all, you just breathe.
Yes.
We're going to show you how to do it the right way, because there is a right way, it turns out. And there's a lot of bad ways.
A lot of bad ways. And it's interesting. I mean, even talking to some of my friends of like, gosh, how do we get into this? There's an urgency people are feeling with their money.
The FOMO. We talk about that a lot.
More than ever. Yes. And it's fascinating to me. So it's going to be a great conversation at that event. So
yes.
Again,
join us.
Guys,
and it's free. There's literally no excuse.
I know. So go to RamseySolutions.com/wealth to register, and we'll be live January 13th. All right. Up next, we have Kelly in Spokane. Hey, Kelly. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for taking my call today. I'm super excited to talk to you. I'll try not to talk too fast because I'm a little nervous.
No, you're great. You're great.
Thank you.
We're fast talkers. You're in good company.
Fair.
Oh, good. I've been a long time listener, and this is the first time I've actually called, and I'm just excited I got through today. So I have a question about mortgage payoff and which direction you would advise I go. I'm on baby steps 4 through 6, and I have 2 mortgages. The first mortgage is my former primary residence, and I have, I've had a solid rental history in that house for about 10 years, and I'm towards the end of that 15-year mortgage, and I owe about $72,000 on it. The second mortgage is on my primary residence where I live, and I owe about $168,000 on that mortgage. I know that, you usually recommend that you pay off your primary residence first, but I just wasn't sure because it's not the larger mortgage as far as what I owe, and I've been tinkering around with your mortgage calculator, and I was looking at the interest I save if I put more on, the one that I owe more on, and I'd save more interest. And so I just thought I would call and clarify and talk to you guys today about that. So hoping to get your advice.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you're on the plan other than, having the multiple mortgages. And, we're not mad at you there, but you're right. I would pay off the primary first. And it's for a simple reason. If the bank's going to come after someone, I'd rather it not be the place I live. And so, worst case, if you had to sell that investment property, you'd get rid of the mortgage, you've got the equity, you'd be fine. I would focus on this primary mortgage. I don't treat it like a debt snowball when there's a multiple mortgage situation, you've got a primary and an investment property. It's not the kind of consumer debt snowball. I want to feel the progress. Now, yeah, you would pay off the investment property first, but I'm still going to focus on the place I live first and then focus on paying cash for any future investment properties. So I pay off the primary, then the investment property, and then any future property I'm going to be paying cash for. That's my take. Rachel?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And then I would be curious, Kelly, like, what if you sold it? What if you sold that rental house? I know that it brings in rental income and all of that, but is there any part of you that's like, oh, just get it out so that you free up $72,000 plus, from what you owe on it, and you can fully concentrate on your primary mortgage and then go back and invest in real estate down the road?
Yeah, I thought about that, and it's in a pretty darn good area of town, and it's worth, the one that I owe 72, it's worth about 550, maybe more.
Wow.
So, but I don't know, I guess I'm just so close to the finish line there that I thought, gosh, if I had it paid for and I've had a solid rental history, I guess I was just thinking, I'm older, I'm almost 44.
Older? 44? I thought you were going to say like 70.
Well, I'm 44 with a 4-year-old. So so I guess I was just looking at like long-term investment. And
how much do you make a year, Kelly?
Cash flow. I make about $165 a year.
Okay.
Does that include the rental income?
No.
Okay. What does the rental bring in per year?
Let's see. I'm just now bumping up the rent. I'll clear roughly about $800 a month. So, so I'm totally having a
little over 10. Yeah,
we're talking
that's
around.
great. Yeah.
I guess I'm just wondering, like, is it like massive money? Because it feels like to clear $800 on a property that's worth over $500,000 is not incredible. It's not changing. It's not changing your life to get the extra $10,000 a year. But to have, if like Rachel said, if you sold this thing, you would have hundreds of thousands of dollars even after paying off your own mortgage.
Right.
And so I'm just wondering, like, how would that feel? And so you weigh those options. There's not a right or wrong here, but I think based on what your goals are, you're telling me you're getting older, even though you're not even halfway there. But you've got to think about your goals. And if you say, man, it would be awesome to be debt-free and to get to keep $165,000 a year, how fast could I save up and pay cash for a rental property down the road and do it a different way?
Right.
So just think through those.
Just a couple options to think through. And again, that's why I like walking through people's scenarios in this, because, there's not always this, we have a ton of formulas around Ramsey, and we have a lot of steps and, progress that you can see step by step, which is great because that helps people walk the plan. But things like that with her, where I'm like, you know what, is she going to be tanked if she keeps it? No, Kelly's going to be fine. She makes great money. She's going to pay this off after her primary. We'll talk to her in 4 years. She's going to be fine. But I don't know, what's option B? There's always option A, B, C, D. And I think doing the math and figuring out, especially something like with a rental property, if it's worth $500,000, she's out of Spokane. I'm like, what other places could you get $1,000 for rent? And would that even be cheaper? You know what I mean? Like, I think that puzzle of money is always interesting to me, to kind of finagle the numbers and not just to stay in this kind of this one-track mindset all the time when it comes to these other options that you could do with your money.
Yeah, and when you have a paid-for rental, you make more money off the rental because you don't have a mortgage payment. And so there's something to think about. A lot of people just go, well, I'm going to get into real estate investing and I'm going to get no down. But at the end of the day, I've got some friends who are losing money right now on their rental property because they're paying more than it's making them. But they still feel like, well, this is a good investment for us long term. And I'm just like, you're literally draining money.
Yes.
And so you've got to really think about that piece. Obviously, that's not the situation with Kelly. She's doing great. But rental property is not always, it looks sexy on the outside.
Yes.
And as you know, as Dave knows, it can be a nightmare, especially if you can't get a tenant or they're a bad tenant or they destroy something. There can be some serious repercussions, consequences, things you have to deal with down the road.
Yes, and the money you're putting back into it. I mean, yeah, it's a whole puzzle piece. It sounds fun of like, oh yeah, we have some rental properties. That sounds good. But when you're actually looking at the nuts and bolts of it, it's a lot of work. And you want to make sure financially that you're in a spot to do that. And Winston and I, our very first one, we got it in a short sale. In kind of a sketchy part of Nashville, and it was a small condo, but we put a few $100 in it, got new carpet, new paint, rented it. I mean, you can start small and build on it, you guys. So
doing it with cash takes out the stress.
That's right, absolutely. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I am Rachel Cruz, hosting this hour with very own George Camel. George.
Fun times.
Good to be here with you.
We don't get to host much together, but when we do, America goes wild. They love it. The feedback is pouring in.
Actually, you know, number one fan of this combo situation?
Who?
Sharon Ramsey.
That is high praise.
Mom, if you're watching.
Sharon, if you're out there.
Hello.
Big fan of Sharon Ramsey myself.
She loves Rachel Cruz and George Camel together.
That's awesome.
Hosting the show. But we are taking your calls about life and money. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. And we're going to go to Anna in Virginia Beach. Hey, Anna, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can we help?
I am in a situation with my father who took out a Parent Plus loan for not only me, but both my other siblings as well. And there's a total of about $200,000 in debt. Yeah, in just his name. It doesn't seem to be a worry for him, but this has been something that is constantly on my mind since I worked hard to get myself out of my own debt in my name. And now with the the government starting to start loan payments again at the end of January, it's really been a stressful factor for me.
And what's making it stressful for you? The fact that he's going to be burdened with this?
Well, I never knew that there was no discussion between me and him when I went to college that he was going to do this Parent Plus loan and that I would owe him this money. So after I graduated college, he was like, by the way, you owe me $65,000.
Wow.
Right. And so past couple years, I've been sending him, Venmo payments towards it. And, ever since the shutdown and they stopped taking payments, we haven't tried to do anything with it. But I don't think it's right that I owe him that money when we never had that discussion. But I'm torn because thankfully I am able to actually pay that off tomorrow if I prayed about it and that's what God tells me to do. But I'm not having that mindset. I feel like this is like I was taken advantage of. I was only 17 or 18 years old and, my father put me in this very difficult position.
Very much so. And sadly, Anna, your story is common. I hear this a lot. I even had a friend and they went to go apply for a mortgage and she had no clue and it came up and she was like, wait, what? So it is sadly something that does happen. Have you talked to him about this? What's y'all's relationship like?
It's strained. He left my family when I was 12 years old, but we tried to mend that relationship, but there's definitely some anger still and resentment toward with us, mostly on my end, but even more so because I have this financial burden with him, even though it's not legally tied to me. I feel morally like I need to help him out with this since he's in with my siblings $200,000 of debt. He can't pay that off, and I don't want my father to go bankrupt. So the conversation really always ends up in a screaming match because I care more about it than he does. He's on the public loan forgiveness program. So in his mind, after the 120 payments, the rest will be forgiven, even if the interest is capitalized. Yeah. But that means 7 more years of me being financially tied to my father. And I don't know if I can do that or not.
Yeah, this sounds like an emotional and relational decision more than a financial one for you. You have the money to pay it off?
I do, but it would be all of me and my husband's savings.
Including your emergency fund, or is this outside of that?
Outside of that.
Okay. I mean, to me, I know you can put a price on it and say, yeah, that's $65,000 in savings, but to have that weight off of your shoulders, out of your life, and to at least resolve your end of this relationship and to be able to let go of that, I'm weighing those options going, I may just pay this and be done with it. Because right now it feels like it's weighing on you, maybe even more than him.
Well, the thing is, too, Anna, you're not going to be able to control him, right? So he could sit on this, like you're saying, for 7 more years, or even if something happens with the loan forgiveness and it's not forgiven, even for like it. And so there is a level of accountability he has to have that you can't have for him, that he was an adult when he signed this up. And and as harsh as that sounds, it's true. I'm like, he signed this, so he knew what he was getting himself into. Whether he truly could, like, pace out the entire future of his life, no. But he's the one that signed. So that responsibility is not on you. But your name and education, not name, but your education and your experience is still tied in a relational aspect back to this loan. So and I hate it because I'm like, man, I know you worked hard. You have savings in the bank and all of it, but there is this level of just, as John Deloney would say, just mental health, of just not having the stress, not having the relational strain, and the fact that it was your education, even though I know you were 17 and there was a lot of manipulation in it and you didn't know about it, all of that. But there is something that you could say, okay, I am going to pay this because it's worth me having peace at night. It's worth me not stressing about my dad. It's worth cutting the ties, is basically what it feels like. And this, you're still tied to him, is the feeling I'm getting from you on this call. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. And I guess my other concern is, how do I actually give my father that amount in trust that he's actually going to use that large sum of money and pay off my portion of the loan, since they're all consolidated. So I don't really know how that works.
Well, it would be, obviously in good faith that he would, but you're not legally tied to this loan. And so for you, this is a moral type decision. It's not a legal financial decision. It is hey, I'm giving you this money to pay off my loan and I'm done. You can't come back to me anymore for anything. I've paid my end of the deal, which sucks because I didn't even know I had the end of the deal until after college. But I'm going to do this so that I can have breathing room and this stress be off me. And then at that point, it is his responsibility and up to him. But I think from your end of the deal of you making this decision, again, it's not from a legal standpoint. It really is from an emotional standpoint.
Do you think if you had the conversation with him and you sat down with him and said, hey, I want to pay this off, would he be open to that? What would that turn into?
I think he would be, he's totally fine with living in this debt. And I believe based off his, expenses that I see, that he's okay with putting himself more in debt. And that's basically more than half of America being okay with that kind of mindset. But I think he'd be okay with it. I think he wouldn't understand it, and he would try to convince me just to do the payments, to do the public loan forgiveness thing. But like you guys said, I mean, we have no idea what would happen in 7 years. He tries to also convince me that maybe the Biden administration will fall through and they will give money towards, student debt and stuff like that. But I don't plan on holding my breath for that to happen.
Well, and as we're talking about this, Anna, there is a part of me that would be a little bit like, gosh, I don't want to enable him with $65,000 through like a Venmo, right? Like there would have to be, I would want to see on a computer transferring the money, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't want to hand him $65,000 of cash because
I think if you can get on the same page and he's willing to allow this $65,000 to be paid, you sit with him and you guys do this thing together. And that way you can see it happen, you're on the same page, and there's this nice clean break in a sense if this relationship isn't going to be sorted out. But who knows? There could be redemption at the end of the story.
Absolutely.
So it's your job to just do what you can and control what you can control, but you need to let go of this.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for the call. This is The Ramsey Show. DaveRants.com, 100% satisfaction guaranteed means that even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promo codes they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Justin in Michigan. I was able to graduate from college debt-free because my wife and I worked our butts off and lived on a delicious diet of ramen, rice, and beans. I have a new job that I love, and we just discovered we're expecting our first baby. I want to sell my current car for $9,000 and buy a Mustang convertible for $9,000. I would drive my wife's car during the winter and keep the Mustang under a tarp. We have $42,000 in the bank, so I could pay cash and have a super fun car, but we are looking to get a house in the next year. Can we afford this car? What an interesting question from Justin in Michigan.
Oh my.
A lot going on in their life.
Mustang.
Expecting our first baby. Okay.
And wanting a Mustang.
Take me back, Rachel, to when you guys had your first baby.
Yes.
Let's say you had $42,000 in the bank and Winston said, hey, I really want this Mustang convertible. What's the conversation like at the Cruz household?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how that conversation would go, George. I mean, especially if you have a goal of wanting a new house. I mean, it's $9,000.
And it's
42.
He's selling the current one for $9, buying one for $9.
That's what I'm confused
according
about.
To these numbers.
Isn't it just a switch then?
It is, but they're kind of down to one car. He's saying I would drive my wife's car during the winter and keep the Mustang under a tarp.
Oh, so the wife would have to get a car.
That's where I get a little hairy there because the new baby.
What,
are
James?
the numbers right, James?
Oh.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation. If the numbers are right and it's an even trade, I'm just saying I wouldn't do it right now. I would wait till the baby's here and everything's good.
Yeah.
Take a beat. Figure out if you can handle a one-car situation. You know, if the wife's at home. There's a lot of unknowns here.
Yeah, down to the one-car thing. I mean, no. I mean, Justin, I'd pump the brakes, literally, and not...
Can you afford the car? Yes. It's not a question of can we afford the car.
No.
The question is it a wise financial decision for your stage of life? And to me, this thing's under a tarp. It's just going to be sitting there for most of the winter in Michigan.
You're not going to be driving it as much as you think you are.
Yeah. So I'm waiting.
Justin,
I'm going to give it a Mustang will be there. There's a lot of Mustangs to go around. Keep the two cars, figure out what life is like with the new baby, and go from there.
What's the car you want? What would be the car you would buy
Not a
and keep
Mustang.
under a tarp?
Literally, I would never buy a car that I would have to keep under a tarp.
Can I ask such a whatever question about cars?
Sure. You're asking the wrong guy, first of all.
This is going to be dangerous. Don't convertibles have, like, you can get a hard top, you can get a soft top. Why does it have to be under a tarp? Is it because
maybe the
snow in Michigan is just so much that
could be
damage
part of it? I'm looking at the manly men in the booth.
There's a lot of manly men in the booth.
So
and
many.
Just give us anything. They're giving us nothing. They don't even know.
I got my...
That's just, I don't know. Anyways, Justin...
I'm not doing
God
it. I'm not
bless
saying
you.
it's just a not now. It's not, hey, this is a dumb idea. I'm just saying, just wait till the baby's here, see what life is like, and then 6 months after that, if you still want the Mustang, get yourself the Mustang.
Get yourself the Stang.
But
hope that helps, Justin.
Baby life can just be unpredictable, and you don't know what it's going to be like in the pregnancy and money.
Yeah, and definitely not in a convertible.
In Michigan.
In Michigan.
But hey, you do you. Thanks for the question.
Thanks for the question, Justin. All right, up next we have Heidi in Boston. Hey, Heidi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Rachel and George. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
So listen, my husband and I, we want the American dream to buy a house, but we don't want to be upside down on the house years from now. My husband and I have saved 28% of a down payment on the house, and we have no debt. However, we're very frustrated with the way the market is, the bidding wars, the rat race of it all, having to bid like $120,000 for a house that has issues. And we're just not willing to do that. We're not willing to do this huge investment, the biggest investment of our lives, and come out potentially upside down later down the road. I think that we really need help and advice on what to do. Should we settle? I mean, a lot of people have been telling us oh, why are you having all that money on for your down payment? Nobody cares about that. The PMI isn't that much. And we're holding to our guns here, but
they have those in Boston?
We're very frustrated.
I'm from the Boston area, so I feel you on the real estate debacle there, and it's happening all over the country, but especially in a big city like Boston, East Coast, West Coast. And so what kind of house are you looking at? What's the price point?
My husband and I, we'll bring in $369 this year before taxes. We were pre-approved for about $850, but we're looking for more of a $650 area. We don't want to be on the very top of our budget. We want to be comfortable. I think that we have the right idea. It's just we kind of feel like we're forced into a really bad situation. And I don't want to use the term unfair because I know life isn't fair, but my husband and I work hard, and we want to be able to not be stuck in our lives. We want to have kids someday. We just don't know what to do, frankly.
Yes, and I would say, Heidi, anytime you feel forced in a financial situation, you could make a really bad decision. So anytime there's options, that would be my thing. Options. Now, are you going to pay more than you did 24 months ago? Yeah, you are, because of the housing market. We all know it's insane right now. But could you guys get to a number that you feel comfortable with and to say, regardless of market, this is the amount of money we want to spend. And because of that, in this market, this is the house we're going to get. Do we feel good about that? And if the answer is no to any of those, then you can pause, Heidi. There's no one forcing you guys to buy a home right now. I know you're frustrated and you want a home and all of that. I get that. But even if you just have the brakes for another 9 months, I wonder what fall of 2022 is going to be like. You guys will have more money saved up. You can see if the market at all corrects itself. But give yourself some time and do not feel forced into a situation. Because what is the urgency for you guys of buying a home? Is it just that you don't want to rent anymore and you're like, oh, we just want a home?
Well, we've been married 3 years, and we live in an apartment right now in Malden, and the rent, it keeps on increasing every year. We've been in the same apartment for 6 years now, and the rent's going to increase again. The amount that we're paying now is higher than what our expected mortgage per month, including like property taxes and stuff like that would be. And plus, we want to start a family, and the area that we live in right now isn't really ideal for that.
Well, Heidi, here's what I would do. Like Rachel's saying, I'm going to use this time to buy me some patience and save up even more. And that's what we did when we were building our home. And every time there was a delay, I just went, sweet, one more month to save up for that down payment. And we got a huge down payment on that house because of that. And so that may also help you upgrade a house. And over time, if you're working with a great real estate agent, and let me tell you, if you don't have one, you can jump on to RamseySolutions.com and find a Ramsey trusted ELP, Endorsed Local Provider in the Boston area who's rock star, and they can help you navigate this weird time so that you don't get screwed, so that you're not paying $100,000 over asking to get into a house. So I'm going to do it when the time is right, but that doesn't mean you can't be searching and trying. And I know it's frustrating and it can be disheartening, but this is just the market we're in, and if you want a house right now, you got to play the game. But use this time to keep saving up. Maybe you guys could put 40, 50% down on this house. That could be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's hard is when you feel forced again in a situation, that can be dangerous. And people do that. I know this isn't your case specifically, Heidi, but even people, they find the perfect house. And this is the only house. This is the only house. Where they find the car. This is the only car. This is the only car. And I'm going to overpay. And you make bad decisions when it's this very, very tunnel vision. And so to be able to say that, yes, we want a house. We want a house here in the next 18 months. So now in 18 months, we're going to be saving and we're going to be looking for a home, and give yourself that patience, Heidi. But you guys are doing awesome. You make great money. You got a great down payment. You're going to be great.
And you have a great Boston accent. I love that.
Yes, she does. Apartment.
Living in an apartment.
My apartment. George, thanks for co-hosting with me today. I want to thank our producer, James Childs, and phone screener, Jenna Sears. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to theramseyshow.com.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, joined today by the best co-pilot a guy could ask for, Rachel Cruz. So good to have you. We're having a good time today.
Thanks, George.
There we go.
It's good to be here.
We got there, America. Hey, give us a call, 888-825-5225. We can talk about your life and your money. Phone lines are open. Keith is kicking off this hour in Phoenix, Arizona. Keith, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Oh, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you taking my call, Rachel and George. My wife loves streaming your show, by the way, Rachel.
Oh, thank you.
Sweet.
My question is going to be a weird one. I am at the end of a 17-year journey to get debt-free in October. Literally the lion was outside the tent door, and he was hungry. Honey, we need to file bankruptcy or something needs to change. That level of desperation.
Keith, what was the debt? Can I ask?
Oh, house, credit cards, car, the American dream, right? We were in our 20s and early 30s, and you need a new couch, go charge it. That kind of stupidity. In the process of that 17 years, we did the whole Ramsey, sold everything we could sell, paid off the credit cards, got the cars taken care of, but corporation moved 5 times, got downsized, got kidney cancer. Started a business, so we're the tortoise. We got there in October. My thing is, I'm the leader of my house. For 17 years, we've been running from the lion. The lion's gone. We have these discussions of like, what's next? And maybe we should get a cabin. And then my wife and I are both free spirits, so that's another little hiccup in this thing. My wife's on Realtor.com looking at cabins. I'm like, well, no, we don't want to go back into debt. So it's kind of we're at this weird place where everything's good on, hey, get out of debt, do the steps, get the 529 funded for your kids. We're doing all that stuff. We're doing really well. But there's no what's next. And after, literally first time in 30 years, we're debt-free. I feel lost. Sometimes I miss the lion, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, Keith, let me get this straight. You guys are in baby step 7, and your primary home is paid for?
As of our 26th wedding anniversary this October, we paid it off on the night of our 26th anniversary.
Way to go.
Congrats, Keith. That's a big deal.
Well, and you say that with excitement, and my wife cried, and it was beautiful, but I've known this was going to happen since, January, February last year, because I knew where the money was coming from. But once again, I feel lost because I don't have a what's next. And I never thought I'd call you guys and say that.
Well, we get this call. We do get this call, I would say, on a regular basis of this idea of whether people have paid off. They're already on baby step 7, or they're even on just 4, 5, and 6, and they think, how can we have fun? Like, we don't even know how to do this. Because it's going to take some new habits. Like you said, you've been in the habit of running away from that lion and paying off this debt, and now there's nothing. And so you guys need to sit down and you guys need to have some goals. And the goal now is not paying off debt. The goal is, okay, what are we going to do? Because there's really 3 things, Keith, that you guys can do with money. You can give it, you can save it, and you can spend it. So you need to do all 3. I would up some of your giving. I would look to see what can we be saving for in the future. What's our 10-year goal? What do we want to have in retirement? Do we want a cabin? All of those. And then the part that's going to be tough for you guys, or maybe not, you're both free spirits, but to up that spending lifestyle a little bit, a few percentage points, and enjoy some of this as well. So it's kind of a whole formula, but I would really, really recommend, Keith, you guys sitting down. My husband and I, we do this once a year, and we look ahead and say, okay, in the next 3 to 5 years, what are things we want to do? What do we want to give to? Do we want to replace a car? Do we want to, go on a certain trip? Like, you can start planning out and having goals out there. That is what your what's next. That's what that will be.
Yeah. And like Rachel's saying, you kind of need to plan for the fun. And for the Free Spirit to do that, it actually is super helpful. So you don't feel bad and you're not out of control in one area or another. You're not hoarding up money over here, saving for nothing because you can't stop. But you're not also spending out of control and going back into debt and making some unwise decisions. So I would split it up and go, all right, we want to do one fun thing. All right, we're going to save up for vacation. We're going to go to Europe this year. We know we want to buy the cabin. Okay, we agree that's a 5-year goal. So let's just save up to where in 5 years we can pay cash for the cabin. All right, we want to give this much. And that way you have a plan. You can kind of take a deep breath and enjoy where you guys are at. This is a good problem to have, Keith, and I don't want it to cause anxiety for you.
It's a blessing. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, being the leader and literally our focus, I mean, we paid off almost $70,000 on the house just this year to get to this point. So we've been hitting it almost as hard now as a gazelle to get it finished as we did when we first had the credit card debt. And now there's like nothing. It's just unnerving in a way. So maybe I've changed and I'm not as much of a free spirit as I used to be.
We've trained you.
No. Well, and I think you can realize too that life is, there's a quality of life that money doesn't have to buy. Like, you can be content with maybe, the lifestyle thing is like, hey, we really don't need what we thought we needed, and we're kind of okay with that. Like, you're going to get to a lot of these conclusions, and I appreciate, Keith, your kind of intensity and motivation of being that leader. As you keep saying, you've said that word twice in this call, which is great. But I think too, money is such a team effort. And I think, you and your wife have done a great job being a team through that. So continue to be a team. Don't put all of this on your shoulders. Bring her in and you guys together say, okay, as our family, what do we want this to look like? And those conversations, once you get used to it, and granted, you this has only been 90 days for you, so you can take a deep breath. You're okay. You don't have to figure all this out right now. But as you really get into that new norm, those conversations are fun as a couple when you say, wow, we really have no payments. What's our next goal? What do we want to do? And it's a beautiful thing, Keith. I'm really proud of you guys.
Yeah. And part of this is balancing that contentment and goals. It's great to have both. You can have a lot of great goals, and you can be very content with where you're at. And I think right now, figuring out that new balance is what's important for you.
I appreciate that. We'll have to have a family meeting and get our son in there and work on this. So, yeah, that's something. I like that idea of having a fun goal and maybe some more longer-term things that we can shoot for instead of just running from something.
That's exactly right.
I don't know who needs to hear this out in America. Getting cancer, getting laid off is so much better when you don't have credit card debt and car payments. I can't imagine how we would have made it. So get through those baby steps fast because life gets in the way.
Beautifully said, Keith. Man, what an inspiration. Way to go, man.
It's true. That's
Enjoy
life.
Baby Step 7 life. It's a good one. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
Joined today by Rachel Cruz. This is The Ramsey Show. Open phones this hour, 888-825-5225.
All right, George.
You know, we just had a call from a guy, Keith, who had just paid off his house in baby step 7. And I thought, Rachel, you are the person that I want to break this news to. So I have a picture on my phone here. Tell the people what it says.
Oh, wow. George, it's a blue background.
Thank you for the description.
Of an image with a circle. But it says current principal balance 0.00. George freaking Camel, did you pay off your house?
We did it!
Oh my gosh, look at that!
And the crowd goes wild. Thank you to the guys in the booth.
George!
We did it yesterday, Rachel. Me and my wife went down to the bank.
Paid off your house.
We did it.
And how old are you guys again?
I'm 32 and she's 31.
That's unbelievable, George. Unbelievable. You got Janelle over there clapping. You got
whole
all
crew.
of
I knew my Ramsey family would appreciate that. It's been very sweet. The team has been so awesome.
How'd you do it? What's the hardest part? Should we go through all the debt-free?
Well, here's the thing. I'll give you a little bit, but we are doing a debt-free scream. And I don't think, now, I don't know if you may be able to speak to this. I don't know that a Ramsey personality has done a debt-free scream.
Oh, that's a good question.
Can you prove me wrong?
Yeah, that's never happened.
Andres
James is saying
Gutierrez.
it's never happened.
We went through all of them.
Nope, James already said it.
Man.
So this is a
you're
momentous
making history.
occasion. I know. And so January the 12th, the day after Baby Steps Millionaires book launch, I will be on the show with Dave and doing a debt-free scream with my wife 20 feet that way on the debt-free stage.
That's amazing, George.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. I appreciate that. You've been a great cheerleader along the way. I've learned a lot from you and the stuff that you're teaching. And I just thought, you know what, if I'm going to work for Dave, and especially if I'm going to be a face for this place and preach our message, I should be doing it. And so my wife works here. Fun fact, for those of you that don't know, we met here. Beautiful love story. And when we got married and we still worked here, we just were like, what if we could get a house and pay it off as soon as possible? What kind of life could we have? What kind of options could we have? What freedom could that give us? What message would that send to other people who may not believe it's possible for them?
Yep.
And so that was a driving factor. It's not the only factor, but it was just one of those things where I was like, I wonder if, and what if we did it? What would that be like and feel like? And we're still in shock. I mean, it's fresh. This was 24 hours ago we did this.
And you paid it. How long did it take?
It took 26 months.
Gosh, just over 2 years.
Yep.
It's incredible, George, because I would say a lot of people, if you just go and poll them out on the street to pay off your house, I mean, I think a lot of people would say, no, it's not possible. Yeah, you just don't
What's
do
funny
it.
is we had to go to the bank to do this. It's very old school. I didn't know this, but Penny Mac is the mortgage servicer, and so when you go to pay it off, it says request payoff statement. There's no magic fun payoff button with confetti, and so you wait. You get snail mailed this piece of paper with the instructions for wiring. And then I'm like, oh, cool, I could probably do a wire online. It's 2021. No, you have to go to the bank to do a wire. It's very secure. So I go to our bank and say, hey, I'd like to do a wire. And they sit me down. And this lady, I mean, this is just a transaction for her, right? This is just another thing.
This is a life-changing moment for the Camels, but not as much for her.
If you've ever been at a bank, they're not exactly Disney World. It's sterile. There's no music playing. You're in this, like, sad little office. And she's just like, all right, here, what's the information? Okay. Is this for a closing? I was like, no, we're just, we're paying off the mortgage. Huh. Oh, congratulations. That's the dream. No emotion on this lady's face. That's the dream. And 10 minutes later, she's typing and she goes, all right, The wire transfer will happen at some point today. Is there anything else I can do for you? And we just dejectedly were like, no. And I always said to my wife, like, let's get out of here.
We got to get out of here.
It sounds like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm or something.
Yes, it was very much like Curb Your Enthusiasm, James. So after we left the doors, we felt like we could scream. But in the bank, it was like, this is not a safe place.
Man, I wish y'all had like confetti popper. I wish we would have known. What if we came around the corner?
Oh, that would have been fun.
Throw a party in that
That would have been hilarious.
These guys are out of here.
We had a DJ, balloon. I was hoping, like, if I had a bank, I would have confetti, cupcakes. We'd have, like, everyone walk in like it's Chili's, like, and they're singing happy birthday, but it would be celebrating the debt payoff.
Isn't it funny? The life events, whether I think it is, like, paying off debt, even getting married or having a baby, like it's like your whole world has changed. Everything is suddenly different. But the world just keeps moving. Like, everyone keeps living their life, and it's a little bit anticlimactic sometimes.
We just drove. Like, it was over our lunch break, and we just drove back to work in traffic, just going like, all right, back to work.
Okay, but we're joking about it, but it does. It has to feel great today.
It was amazing.
Sitting here being like you're not gonna have a mortgage payment January of 2022.
Yeah,
nothing.
Like,
is that wild? I mean, it's just wild.
It is very wild, and I'll tell you this: just like Keith, we are very goal-oriented. And so we're like, okay, well, there's still like 1,000 other things we want to do. We want to go to Europe. I got to upgrade the car. We want another house, Yeah. And so it's funny, as a driven millennial, it's just kind of like nothing is ever enough. And so it was a great call because it reminded me, like, we need to celebrate. We need to take a pause. We need to be content with where we're at and go, holy crap, we did this. Yeah. Like, we need to just like hug and celebrate and not be like, all right, what's next on the agenda?
That's right. Check that off.
Check it off.
Will you go to like a good dinner or something? Will you go?
Well, you know what's funny? We have our Ramsey Christmas party this weekend, and we have a wonderful, expensive dinner scheduled with some of our best friends here.
There you go. It's perfect.
So you guys were booked. The cruises were booked for dinner. But yeah, we're very excited. And the nice thing is I'm upping the dinner budget.
Yeah.
I'm going, you know what? I want to go out once a week and have a really great meal because we can.
Enjoy it because you can.
And mostly because we hate cooking with a burning, undying passion.
Both of you do.
Both, yeah. It's a dark situation.
Yeah.
I will say that. Make sure in your marriage there's someone who loves to cook.
I found this new girl on Instagram, and she's changed my cooking life over the last month. Yes.
I've seen you post some of her recipes.
They're amazing. And someone that can't cook that well.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Well, we'll celebrate later. Let's get to the phones.
George, proud of you.
Thank you.
It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I appreciate that. John, sorry you had to hear that. He's in St. Louis. How can we help today, sir?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Rachel and George. Appreciate it.
Speak directly into the phone for me. You're breaking up on us.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little better.
I just want to say thanks for taking my call. Congratulations on the big news. That's
thank
awesome.
you. Appreciate that. What's your question for us?
With inflationary pressures, can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little better.
With inflationary pressures right now, would you guys recommend reduce 4, 5, and 6, gearing back a little more emergency fund right now, just with everything that's going on in the world, or would you still stick to your guns, the 3 to 6 months worth of expenses?
Okay, let me recap for those that couldn't hear. You're saying, should I have a bigger emergency fund because of inflation and everything going on in the world right now?
Correct, essentially.
Got it. Yeah, we get that question a lot, especially this year, Rachel.
Yes.
And this is a big piece of anxiety people are feeling of like, is it enough? What's going to happen if I lose my job? And what we found is 3 to 6 months is enough. And the chances of you needing to survive for a year or two, you can always go to work. People are hiring right now, if you didn't know. And so the worst case scenarios, if you play them out, they're not all that bad if you don't have any debt and you have 3 to 6 months of expenses. So me personally, I would not have more than 6 months. Rachel,
yeah. And John, I would say too, if you guys are on the 3 to 4 month, then you're like, man, maybe we should just put a little bit more aside. That's totally good too. I mean, I think that 6 months, it's plenty. Just like George is saying, if you don't have an income coming in for a reason because of a job loss, you can always replace that with something else. That can keep you guys afloat past 6 months. So we're still good with that, even with inflation, everything. That 6 month mark
like the extra 2% inflation that we're experiencing right now is not going to bust your emergency fund either way.
Yeah.
Now, if something crazy happens, we've got bigger problems than emergency funds. If it gets apocalyptic out there, 7 months versus 6 is not going to be the deciding factor.
That's right.
And I know, Rachel, you have a lot of thoughts about the apocalypse, but that's for another show. Okay. I appreciate the call, John. It's a great question, and I want to validate his fear that it is scary.
Yes.
So the best thing you can do is get out of debt. is have that emergency fund in place. And don't be afraid of work.
That's right. And that keeps it all secure. Thanks, John, for the call.
There it is. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're ready to get out there and find a job you love, then you need to hear this. Job hunting can be stressful and time-consuming, but my friends at ZipRecruiter have made the whole job search way easier. ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 job site in the U.S. by G2, and it's free. So how does it work? First, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Then create a free profile and let their technology do the hard work by finding and sending you jobs that are a great fit. And get this, ZipRecruiter pitches your profile to companies whose jobs match your skills and experience. If someone from that company likes your profile, they can personally invite you to apply for the job. So if you're ready for an easier job search, check out ZipRecruiter. Sign up for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today, absolutely free, and let ZipRecruiter work for you.
Welcome back, folks. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel. Next to me is Rachel Cruz. And if you're watching on YouTube or wherever, you just saw a fun photo of me holding up a 0.00 balance on my mortgage. We paid off our house yesterday, and we celebrated. And Rachel, it's hilarious. During the break, I got an email from Penny Mac that starts with, "We're sorry to see you go." I bet you are, Penny Mac. The Camel loan equals paid in full. That's nice that there's. I'm glad they apologized.
They're gonna miss you.
They're gonna miss all of the interest I was
Are they
giving
gonna miss
them.
you or your money?
That's the question. My guess is the money.
I don't know. Probably.
And we're keeping the debt-free scream party going here because Caleb is on the line in Dallas, Texas. Caleb, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys. Not much. Just on my lunch break and figured I wanted to come call and give my story a little bit.
I love it, man. Well, congratulations. How much debt did you pay off?
Thank you. I paid off $17,000 in debt. I had $12,000 in student loans and $5,000 for a car loan.
Wow.
Awesome.
Way to go. Okay, how long did this take?
So it took me about 2 years. I started when I started my internship, and then immediately after I started my career as a software developer, I basically quadrupled the amount I was putting into my car payment because that was the higher interest, and then snowballed it into my student debt.
Whoa. What was your range of income during this time?
So my internship, I was paid about $14 an hour, and I was starting with the minimum. And then when I started my career, I started at $60,000.
Wow.
And I took the amount that I was putting for my car payment, which was about $100 a month, put that into my student loans. My student loans minimum payment was about $60. So I decided, you know what? We're going to just pay this off. So every month I was putting in $500 a month into my student payments after my car loan was paid off. And sure enough, for my birthday this year, I had $1,000 left on it. And I said, nope, for my birthday, this is my present from me to me. And I
love that.
And I had myself debt-free for my 26th birthday.
Oh, Caleb, 26 years old and debt-free.
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's
freedom.
amazing. Congratulations, Caleb.
Thank
Great.
you so much.
Great job. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. I mean, I heard some of the calls today already on the show, and they were telling, they were talking about how they don't know what they do now. They're debt-free, and I was kind of in the same boat for a little while, but my mom is actually a big listener of the show, and my parents have both been big listeners ever since I was growing up as a little kid. And my mom said, go talk to one of the financial advisors from Dave Ramsey. And so I reached out, and I actually have one that I'm going to start working with next month to put into investments for a house. So
wow.
Amazing.
Started with the future.
Man, what a sharp guy. Your parents must be so proud. I bet they're listening right now.
I hope they are, because they were the ones that kept telling me, you got to go on the show. You got to go on the show. So
that's awesome, Caleb. Okay, so because at 26, again, this is weird. This is not normal. Do your friends, are they inspired by you? Do they think you're crazy? Like, how did your friends respond?
It's a little funny, actually, because some of my best friends, when I was talking to them about some finances here and there occasionally, and one of them just said, you don't have a credit card? And I tell him, no, never have. And it blows his mind. He's like, well, how are you building your credit? And I was like, I didn't need to. I just pay for it up front with cash. And he just couldn't wrap his head around it. And so to me, it was never a foreign concept because, my parents, again, growing up with Dave Ramsey, always taught us, you don't get a credit card because you don't have the money. So the concept was get the money and then you can get what you want.
Wow. Brilliant. If only all of America thought that way.
That's
Man,
right.
Way to go. So what are you going to do now? You're 26. You have no debt. What's next for you?
So right now I'm actually working on myself. I ended up getting a raise this year, and I decided to spend that raise on paying off my debt. And I actually hired one of my friends as my nutritionist. So I've been working on myself financially and physically and just trying to better my life here and there as much as I can. And now my next goal for next year is to put into savings for a house and working on the rest of my future.
Wow.
Caleb, you're amazing.
This is incredible.
Absolutely
I
amazing.
love how debt payoff and getting a hold of your money can bleed into other areas of life, and you go, what else can I improve in?
Oh, yeah. It gives you that motivation to say, oh, my gosh, okay, well, I can work on this and this. Like, I can do it. It gives you hope that you can actually change your life because you did.
So
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
So, Caleb, talk to that maybe 24-year-old who's sitting there with $17,000, $50,000, student loan debt, car payments. They're living off credit cards. They're getting their rewards. They're building their credit score. Life is normal. What would you tell that person?
I would have to say start getting out of it now, little by little, as much as you can put in. All the things that you think you can't live without, can you really not live without them, or are they just a luxury item in your life? And if they're not something necessary, start getting rid of that debt. It feels so nice to go day by day, living life, coming home and not having to worry about, oh, shoot, did I forget any kind of payment? Did I forget to pay off this, this debt, this loan? And it's a big life changer. It changes your future. It changes how you view everything around you, your life. And it's an inspiration, honestly. It makes you want to help other people to feel the exact same way.
Man, beautifully said.
Yeah, it's contagious for sure. When you taste that freedom and you think, wow, I don't owe anyone anything, it changes everything. And I can totally see and understand that idea of wanting to help other people in it. So, Caleb, what would you say is the key to getting out of debt? What's the one thing that kept you motivated and kept you on the winning track?
I would have to say to make the best of your opportunities. For me, especially since most of my debt was in student loans, over the pandemic, things were really hard just all around with everything. A lot of people started getting really high depression, but even though there was all this bad stuff happening around, there was always a silver lining. And for me, the student loans and student debt had no interest for over a year. And so for me, I took that opportunity and I was snowballing as much as I could, didn't have to pay interest on my loans. And so even when things are looking bad, even if there's, a literal pandemic in the world, find a silver lining, find some sort of positivity, make the most of what you can and just take the lead.
Man, Caleb, you are wise beyond your years, man. We're pumped for you, proud of you. We've got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires, an advanced reader's copy for you to celebrate, because that's the next step in your journey. And we're also going to send you a copy of the Total Money Makeover that you can pass along to another 24-year-old, 25-year-old, maybe one of your buddies who goes, how'd you do this, man? And you can give that to them. You ready for this, Caleb?
Absolutely.
All right, we've got Caleb from Dallas, Texas, $17,000 paid off in 2 years, making $15,000 up to $60,000, quadrupled his income. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt-free!
Wow.
Oh,
that's what it's
amazing.
about. I feel good about this next generation, Rachel.
I do too. I have
at least the ones that call into this show and do their debt-free screams.
Lots of hope. That's incredible, though. I mean, there is something to be said about getting it early, and that's one thing people say around here all the time is, I wish I had had this when I was younger. If only I had known this in my 20s. If I had only known this in high school, I would have made a different decision with college, right? So it's that kind of I wish I had. And when you hear, especially younger people, do it, you think, man, their future is so bright.
Yeah.
It's so bright.
And it starts with the parents. I mean, you heard them say,
yes.
My parents are the ones who got me onto this. More is caught than taught. Do this stuff, guys. This will change your family tree, change generations to come. It is so, so worth it. This is The Ramsey Show. Paying off debt is smart. Saving and investing is smart. But there's one key to winning with money that people overlook all the time. That's protecting your finances from emergencies. That's where insurance comes into play. Now, there are 10 kinds of insurance coverage you might need based on what your life looks like today. And we've built an incredible tool called the Coverage Checkup to show you exactly which types you need to add, drop, or adjust. We'll even rank your coverage list by importance, email it to you, and connect you with Ramsey trusted insurance providers so you can get your plan in place fast. Seriously, this could be the most important 5 minutes you spend today. Donald wrote in, and I like how he puts this. For anyone who has not completed this checkup, do it now. You never know when something will happen, and you never want to leave your family in a bad situation. Go and visit RamseySolutions.com/checkup today. Don't let an emergency sneak up on you. Protect your family's future now. Well, Rachel, it's that time of year. In a few weeks, we are going to be doing a special giving edition of The Ramsey Show. It's coming up next week, and we want to hear stories from you, our listeners, about how you have given generously this season. Maybe you've tipped a waitress $100 or bought a Thanksgiving dinner for a family who couldn't afford one. Maybe you've blessed someone in need by giving them a car. Or maybe you've been on the receiving end and had your life changed by someone who gave generously to you. We want to hear from you. Just go to RamseySolutions.com/ask and put giving in the subject line and share your story. We do this every year at Christmas time, and it's one of our most popular shows, one of my favorite shows. It's inspiring. It really gets me in the Christmas spirit. It's coming up December 22nd, so go ahead and start sending in your stories of giving today, and let's celebrate living like no one else so you can give like no one else. Open phones this hour. The number is 888-825-5225. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Ramsey personality and best-selling author Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls. Matt joins us in Modesto, California. Matt, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Great. How can we help?
So I have a little bit of a car situation. Given this current market, I'm able to have my car paid off Currently, I owe about $18,000 on it. The only issue is I don't have a solution for another vehicle if I were to do that. So I thought I'd call you guys and pick your brain and get some ideas.
Okay. So how much could you get for the car if you sold it today?
I can get about $18,100.
So about what you owe?
Correct.
All right. So that would leave you with pretty much net zero.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you have any money in savings?
Just the $1,000 emergency fund.
Okay. And do you have any other debt?
Yes, we're going baby step 2, so we have another vehicle, credit card, personal loans.
Okay. And you have another vehicle, you said you have another car payment, but you're just looking at this one right now?
Yes, the other one's my wife's. She's a little bit more reluctant to sell at this point, so I'm kind of the one open to taking the hit as far as getting a less expensive vehicle.
What do you owe on that one, and what would it sell for today?
I believe we owe $23,000 on that one, and I haven't looked at the value in a while, but last time I looked it up, they were offering, a few thousand more than what it's worth.
Yeah. That's why I asked. I'm just wondering, and part of this is getting your wife on the same page. Is she on board with the baby steps?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've been going through debt, through the debt snowball. It's just her car. It's a big expense, and it's of course it's got brand new and the warranty, and it makes her feel safe. So that's why I'm the one more willing to sell my car and kind of help speed things up.
How much do you guys make, Matt, a year?
We both make about $84,000.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of car. When it gets to be about 50% of your household income, it starts to be a lot. So I would be in favor of selling just to get this off your plates, but that would require different options, right? You could pause the debt snowball, save up a little bit of cash, and get what we'd call the beater, like the not so fun few $1,000 car. But you're $18,000 lighter in debt to do that. If you guys, what other debt do you have? You have the 2 cars. Oh, what else was it you said?
2 cars. We have a personal loan. It's about $3,500. We have about maybe $7,000 in credit cards.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I would lean if I was in your shoes, and I would really love her. I understand the feeling of being secure and the new car, the warranty, all of that, but it may give her a little bit of ease to go and even just look at some used cars, even SUVs, because they're not as bad. Again, I think people have the word used in their head and have a stereotype with it, but when you go and look, they're not as unsafe feeling as you would probably imagine. I mean, I just feel feel the weight of these cars, right? Like if you guys were making $150 a year and you can knock them out, but I just don't want to see you guys drowning in car debt.
Yeah, when you got 41,000 in cars making 84 and you've got a pile of debt, it's just that's a tough, tight situation. And so you need to make some sacrifices here. That might mean taking on some side jobs, selling your car and selling other stuff. But what you need right now is to stack up cash quick. And so I'm going to have a conversation with the wife about selling this car if you can make money from the deal and try to clean up some of this debt. Because remember, you clean up those 2 car payments, have more money in your bank every month that you can use to attack more debt, to save up more. And so maybe run some numbers, think might connect with her personality style. But there's going to sacrifices need to be made. And if she's not willing to make them and it's all on you, that's going to put a strain on the relationship on your end.
Yeah, no, it definitely can. I'm trying to compromise by just me doing it. But no, and hopefully by me doing this, it helps kind of spur on something. So I mean, we've touched on it briefly, but it wasn't pressed too hard right now. But hopefully she comes around and is more open to the idea. Maybe in a few months.
Yeah. Well, back to your question, I'm probably going to try to save up $3,000, and I'm going to go to a reputable dealer in my area. I'm going to look on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and whatever you do, make sure you do get inspected by a great mechanic who can, point out any issues, because the biggest fear everyone has, Rachel, is what if I get a $3,000 car and I have $4,000 worth of repairs? And there's a lot of, I think a lot of it comes down to justification of why I don't want to do the thing. But the truth is, cars are more reliable. Go get you an old Honda, an old Toyota with 200,000 miles, and it's going to get you from A to B, and it's not going to look pretty, but it's going to give you some motivation to get out of debt. The worse car you drive, the more motivation you're going to have to get rid of this debt. And so that's why I don't love her driving this shiny new car, because it's going to get her comfortable. And you already told me she's very comfortable. And I want a little more fire from her and you on the situation. Clearly, you're wanting to do whatever it takes to get out. And I applaud you for that. So start to save up some cash as fast as you can. If it means pausing the snowball for a month, that's fine. But I don't want you to go, well, we haven't done the snowball in 6 months because we're saving up for the car.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to need to make some sacrifices. And if she's unwilling to do that, there needs to be a harder conversation.
Yeah, and there's always kind of echoing what you're saying. Fine, the deeper you're willing to sacrifice, whether that's time, because you're taking on an extra job, whether that's lifestyle, the faster you're able to get out of debt. And honestly, the faster you're just on the other side of this. The sacrifices, it's for a short period of time. It's not gonna take too long, especially if you guys get rid of these cars. You're able to knock out that $35,000 or $3,500 loan, $7,000 in credit card. I mean, you can make a lot of progress very, very quickly. And then get some emergency. Okay, you can take a breath and then go and buy another car. Like, you can still upgrade. That will never not happen in your life.
Yeah.
But it's just, how do we clean it up as fast as possible to get to point A to point B as quick as possible? And it's just, you guys just have a lot of car.
Yeah. And true security is not coming from $23,000 in car debt. It's coming from being debt free.
Yeah.
That's the security that I want for her. Thanks for the call. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. Our thanks to you, America, for listening. James Cheers for screening the phones. We'll be back with you before you know it. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Campbell, joined today by Ramsey personality Rachel Cruz, and we are here, the dream team, to take your calls about whatever you want to talk about. 888-825-5225. Corey is kicking off this hour in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Corey, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing? How can we help?
Doing well, thank you. Hey, got a question. Me and my wife are currently on baby step 6. We're a family of 6. And living in about a 2,400 square foot home. If everything comes to fruition the way we planned it, well, the house paid off in about 4 to 5 years.
Awesome.
But when we initially bought the home 8 years ago, it was just 5 of us.
Just 5.
Just 5.
yeah. That additional child kind of threw us for a loop in many ways, and we're kind of running out of space. And so just wanting to we've looked at remodeling, adding on. It's just with our current layout, it will make it very difficult. Not really wanting to sell. We really love the neighborhood, the land we have, et cetera, but we're also struggling real bad with space. So just kind of wanting to pick you guys' brain if you could.
Yeah. So have you looked at the market right now and where you would go and how much that would cost?
Yeah, I mean, like everywhere else, we're very fortunate with increased property values. So our homes worth more, but of course other homes are also selling for more as well. So I think if we were to buy, it would set us off of our plan by, maybe additional 5 to 7 years. And so not really wanting to do that, but also, like I said, really hurting for space right now.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot, Corey. I just have 3 little ones, and I feel like we're on
Just
top of
3?
each other.
I have just 0, and I'm like, that sounds like a lot. I've got a little dog.
I mean, yeah, Corey. I mean, y'all are in the baby steps spots, that baby step 4 through 6, where we say like, hey, you don't have to be gazelle intense. You want to have a goal and pay it off, but you also can let your foot off the gas and kind of enjoy life a little bit. So you guys were going to be able to pay it off in 3 to 5 years. Now it'll be 5 to 7 years. And for just the sanity and the state of mind and the lifestyle value that more room can just bring, I think that's not a bad move. I think for you guys, I mean, as long as you, again, have that house payment's not crazy and you have a good down payment, all of that, you could still knock it out, maybe even sooner than 5 to 7 years. But that quality of life, you're at the part of the baby steps where you're able to make those decisions, and that's not a wrong decision.
Yeah, and as long as it's within the parameters that I recommend, Rachel recommends, where the payment is no more than a quarter of your take-home pay on a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage, and I assume you'd have a big old down payment selling this one and going into the next one, right?
Yeah, currently we'd have anywhere from $250,000 to $315,000 in equity.
That's great.
Put toward the next home, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're not doing a bad thing. It sounds like you were just pumped on paying off this house, and now it's like, oh, man, it's setting us back. But if you kind of zoom out, you are doing so much better than the average American that you guys should be celebrating, going, all right, we're going to pay our house off in 5 years, and we have taken care of this family of 6 so well, and we're creating the space that we need so that none of us go crazy. I think that's a great thing. And, 5 years instead of 3, in the grand scheme of your life, you're going to have a paid-for house that's even bigger, that's going to cost more to celebrate. So I'm pumped for you guys. I think that's the right move. Obviously, the market's crazy right now, so as much patience as you want to buy as you kind of figure out, I don't want you rushing into this or being forced into it where you go, well, we got to put 50 over because the market's crazy. Make sure you're working with a really good real estate agent who can help you land a deal that's right for you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I guess one more thing conversely, too, is homes are going so fast that by the time they go on the market, you have practically 4 hours to make a decision, which is crazy to me to think about a $500,000 plus home to have only 4 hours to make a decision, or you'll lose it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's stressful.
It is. That's why you need to know exactly what you want when you put a payment on, or an offer in, to be able to say, okay, yep, we feel comfortable when we put this offer in. We feel comfortable if they take this offer, the things around it, and the terms to the agreement, we feel good about. And yeah, it is. I mean, it's a fast moving market. And if you're not financially in a good spot, that's when you can make some really bad decisions. But if you guys financially have a plan, you have your money, you know what you're looking for, you guys are on a team together, you and your wife, you can make a quick decision, but it feels rushed, which I totally understand.
And don't go waiving inspections and appraisals and all these things. Those are super important things that you don't want to skip. Thanks for the call. All right, Josh is in Atlanta, Georgia. Josh, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks so much for taking my call, George and Rachel.
Sure. How can we help?
So I'm calling in today because I have a girlfriend we've been dating for a little over a year now, and I'm actually, I would say a reluctant Ramseyite, and that I've known about Dave and you all for a number of years. At any rate, recently purchased a home and basically want to get gazelle-like intense with, I'm on baby step 2. I only have $1,000 emergency fund. My question is, I recently signed up in January. It's coming up a live Financial Peace University that I'll be attending.
Awesome.
And I wanted to see if, I guess my question is, I'm nervous about, I talked to my girlfriend about it and she wants to do it with me. I'm about $150,000 in debt, plus my house. She is debt free. And I guess my question is kind of when should we, when is it appropriate for us to sit down and talk money? And I can kind of hear Dave saying like, oh, well, you need to get married yesterday. And then I guess I'm also kind of nervous, like, okay, well, like I need to save for a ring or do I go into debt for that?
Are you guys living together?
That's what I'm calling on. We are not.
Oh, okay. Well, there's no rush to get married here. And you said she's happy to join the Financial Peace University class?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then this feels more like you're scared to tell her how much debt you're in because of what that might do to the relationship and how she sees you.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's going to come up naturally in the conversation when you attend Financial Peace. I think it's a great place for those conversations to come up naturally. And I think you sound like you're on board to pay this thing off right now, right? You're on the plan? You're not ish anymore?
I mean, wait, say that again on...
Are you all in on these baby steps? When you go through Financial Peace, are you wanting to get rid of this $150,000 as soon as possible?
100%. And I guess that's why I even brought it up, because...
Then let her know that.
And I think that, because I want to be gazelle-like, which is going to cut our lifestyle.
Yeah, totally. And I think, Josh, just being honest with her, be honest with her honestly. But to sit down and be like, listen, I hate that this number is following me around. That, talk to her about the weight that it feels, even the embarrassment, kind of the shame and the regret. Like, let her in on all of that. I mean, that's human. And to say, and I'm even embarrassed to tell you, but here's the reality. Here's what it is. And let's talk through it. If you know what I mean, like, let it be be honest about it and let it just be a fluid conversation.
If she flips out and she goes, well, this is over, then, hey, there's the red flag you needed, man. But if she's all in on this, you're all in on this, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You got this. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000, all thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at betheltech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Rachel Cruz. Rachel, how's it going over here?
Doing great. If you've had it with living paycheck to paycheck and are sick and tired of constantly worrying about money, I want you to know that you don't have to live like that anymore. You can break that cycle. No matter how you've managed money in the past or how much debt you have, you can take control of your money. You just need a plan right now, and you need the right plan. And that is Financial Peace University. It's helped almost 6 million people take control of their money one step at a time so that they can finally feel like they have control over their lives. You'll learn how to make a budget that actually works, pay off your debts, spend and save wisely, and invest in your future. In fact, the average family pays off $5,300 in debt and saves $2,700 in the first 90 days of the class. It's a lot. That's a big turnaround. And we'll walk through the plan, but it's up to you to get started, and you can decide today that you're done stressing about money and you're ready to take control. Financial Peace University is only available through Ramsey Plus membership. So to get started today or to gift it to someone you know by visiting RamseySolutions.com/FPU. That's RamseySolutions.com/FPU.
I love it. I remember going through Financial Peace University when I started working here in 2013, and it was a game changer. And the fact that you can just access all of this online for an entire year now with all the tools and every dollar, that didn't exist back then. I feel like I'm aging myself. Budgeting, I had to do it on paper.
Yeah,
so it's awesome. It really is an incredible membership. Make sure you check that out and start your free trial. All right, let's go to the phones this hour. Grace joins us in St. George, Utah. Grace, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, how can we help?
I'm excited. I'm so excited to talk to you guys. Okay, so I just barely discovered you guys about a little over 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of stuck in the mud a little bit. So I had a financial advisor tell me that I should file bankruptcy. And kind of thinking about it. And anyway, my son showed me your show, and I'm like, oh my word, maybe they could have some good advice for me and point me in the right direction.
Well, I'm grateful you called us.
I know, absolutely.
So
Grace.
walk us through the situation. How much debt do you have?
So I think it's around $70,000. It's all credit card debt.
All credit card?
And all credit card.
Okay. And what's your income?
So I'm disabled, and been disabled for about almost 3 years. My income is about $23.99, $2,300, almost $2,400 a month.
Okay, a month. All right.
Yeah.
And what led you to this point where you've got $70,000 in credit card debt and you're talking to the financial advisor? What kind of happened?
So I think it was about back in May of this year. I was served for one credit card debt that was about $9,600, and then recently again I was served for another credit card debt. And on the first one, I talked with the company that was suing me and saying, hey, you know what, I can pay payments, and I've always planned to be, but they said no, but won't satisfy us to do that. And so I just didn't know what to do, and I just kind of let it fly. And when I got the second one done, my son's like, well, we've got to figure this out. We've got to figure out what we can do, because I am a single mother of 8 living at home.
You say single mother of 8?
Of 8 children?
Yes.
And how many are living with you right now? All 8?
All 8. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you're taking care of them with that $2,400 a month?
Well, I do get the stamps and medical too. That just recently, since the first of 2020, they had the rental assistance, where you could get rental assistance for COVID.
Yeah.
And so to pay families, and that's kind of what kind of saved us a little bit, because we were just like, going to lose everything. And we've already pretty much lost a lot of everything we had.
So Grace, can I ask what the nature of your disability is? You said it's been about 3 years.
Okay. So my husband died, and we moved in with my mother. My mother died like 6 months after I moved in with her with cancer. And we was evicted from our home. We moved to our current place right now, our current city right now, and we had so in order to survive, we kind of I had really good credit. I was raised up really good. I guess we were raised up on the FICO score. So that's a whole new thing to change in my mind, but I want to. Anyway, so I had really good credit. I could crack up cards if I wanted to. I mean, but I came back. I was a specialty nurse. I had excellent jobs. When I moved to my current location, I worked full-time plus 2 part-time jobs, trying to...
Did we lose her?
Grace?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh,
okay.
Are you there? Oh. You're okay.
I'm so sorry you're going through all this. I mean,
It's a lot, Grace.
You have had setback after setback after heartbreak after heartbreak. And let me tell you, the fact that you are where you are, taking care of your entire family, I mean, I'm just inspired by you on one end and heartbroken for you on another. And we want to help walk you through this, and it's hard to do in a quick radio call. So here's what I want to do for you, Grace. I want to get you connected to a financial coach who can walk through your situation. And to answer your question, no, you should not file bankruptcy right now. I believe you can get through this. You have $70,000 in credit card debt. You can clean up this mess. This is not beyond saving. You are not beyond saving. And so if you hang on the line, I'm going to have Jenna pick up, and she's going to connect you with a financial coach, and we are going to pay for that session for you. You won't pay a dime. And on top of that, I'm going to get you connected to a Ramsey Plus membership. Again, we're going to pay for that. That's going to give you 1-year access to Financial Peace University, Every Dollar, our budgeting tool. And I want you to, as you can make it through that, watch those videos, start to get a handle on a budget, work with your financial coach, and they're going to walk alongside you, hold your hand, and get you out of the $70,000 in credit card debt. Does that sound good?
Sure. That's great.
I'm so sorry you're going through this.
I know, Grace. And what all this is going to help you do, because you do have a lot. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics here just in your story, but also in your financial situation. But that we're going to be able to help map out a plan for you, very clear. And this financial coach will help you set a budget and to know, okay, here are all my expenses, and have a level of control over your money in the right way that maybe you've never experienced before, Grace. But also, I mean, I would also encourage you to, I hope you have family in the area or a good church around you, good friends around you, because this can be a very isolating time for you, losing your husband and taking care of kids. I can't even imagine all that you've walked through. So I want you also to think about yourself and the healing process and the grieving process, and to do that really well. And again, a good counselor or a good pastor can walk with you through that part as well, because that's almost more important, than the money stuff. The money stuff adds so much stress, and hopefully we can remove some of that by giving you that plan and you can walk through it. But there's a lot there, Grace. And so thank you so much, though, for calling in, and hope and Jenna again will pick up and we can connect you with what you need.
That's a hard situation.
Oh, man.
And Rachel, we did an episode on The Fine Print, the podcast that I hosted, and the episode's called Is Bankruptcy a Quick Fix for Struggling Americans? And I dug into this, and we hear stories, we talk to experts. I want to encourage anyone who's going through this, thinking about it, check out this episode of The Fine Print. Hopefully it educates some people and helps show them that hope is out there, and this is not the only path. Right. And I know the financial advisor wants this to be a shortcut to get you on your feet, but there's another way, and bankruptcy doesn't have to be it. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, joined today by Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls, 888-825-5225. Crystal joins us in Bakersfield, California. Crystal, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Sure. How can we help?
So, I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but so my husband and I are, after calculating it today, we have, between the both of us, we have $13,000 in credit card debt. And a lot of it was accumulated from his past job where he got paid way less than he is now. And so we're just trying to get out of debt and shred our credit cards for good and just never use them again. And so we're just trying to figure out like what's the best way to tackle that, getting rid of that debt. And I don't know, I guess kind of how to approach it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Crystal, number one, great job of just looking at it. I think the unknown is scarier than once you bring it all out. And yes, and even if 13,000 feels overwhelming to you and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, at least it's there. And that takes a level of courage to do that. So I'm just curious, how long do you feel like you kind of lived in the dark versus just today calculating everything? How long has this been?
I'd say it's been probably over a year now that we, I don't know. I've kind of been on board for a bit, but my husband wasn't so much, where I was kind of like, he wants to get out of debt, but he kind of continued to swipe his card. And I'm like, we can't, we can't keep doing that. And so
what's changed since then? What was was there a moment? Did you guys do something?
Yeah, so actually, I watch a lot of y'all's YouTube videos, and I brought one up and showed it to him, and I think it was like a huge eye-opener for him, and I both actually. It just, we realize so much, because it's like now that the job that we're at, I feel like he's making such great income for what we used to be. And I told him, where's all of our money going to? And I'm like, wow, look at how much credit card debt we have. Like, we need to be smarter with our money, and we need to get out of this debt. You know, if we ever want to make something of ourselves and have a home and leave something behind for our kids.
That's great.
Yeah,
so y'all have had like
was an eye-opener for us.
Yeah, kind of an I had it moment. Like, I'm done. We see there's a different way, and we're ready. We're ready to tackle. So is there any other debt, Crystal, besides the $13,000 in credit cards?
Okay, so there is, and this one's big, and we've been talking about just, so we have a truck right now currently. That was an idiot move, but we got a brand new Dodge last year. It's a Dodge Ram, and it's pricey, and so we looked at selling it, and we would actually, if we sell it right now, we would actually make $2,000 off of it for selling. So if we sell it, so we're at the point that we want to sell it, but we just need to get a vehicle that's going to work for us, because we do need a truck to be able to haul our horses. And so,
what's the truck worth?
Yeah. The truck is worth, I've called different places. If I sell it to a dealer, which we don't want to do, we want to go the private way. It looks like it's about around $62,000 currently.
Ooh. What's your household income?
Yeah, so our household income, trying to think. So are you asking yearly or monthly?
Yearly.
Yearly, okay. I should have calculated that.
That's okay. What is it monthly? What's it monthly?
Monthly. Okay. Right now we're making $4,500 a month before taxes are taken out.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that's about.
And actually, he is a stay-at-home mom, so any income myself.
So that's about $54,000 gross multiplied out.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
you guys have a $62,000 truck.
Yes.
That's a lot of truck.
Yes, it's a lot of truck. Absolutely, too much truck for us. I agree.
That thing's getting sold today, if I'm you guys, and if you're serious about this.
We are completely serious. Yes.
And then, Krista, what you're gonna have to find is a truck, an old truck, not a pretty truck.
The more flaws, the better.
It's what they call a farm truck here in the South.
I want the paint rusting off that thing.
Yes, that you can at least hook up the horses to, so you can work, because I know that's part of the gig there of what you're doing. But yeah, you guys, you're gonna make some radical changes, and I'm so thankful you both are willing to do that. Because it is going to take a level of sacrifice. But you guys can do this. Yep. Like George, sell the truck, the $13,000 in credit card debt. Is there multiple credit cards, or is it just one?
It's my credit card and his. It's two different credit cards.
Okay.
With mine and his.
So what's what's the two amounts on each?
The two amounts on each. So I honestly just calculated it between the both, and it was like $13,000 if I added it up.
Which
together.
one has
on
the
mine,
least amount of debt?
Oh, gotcha. My husband says.
Okay. So we're going to pay his off. We're going to sell the truck tomorrow, right? So the truck's going to be gone in our head, right? And we're going to take. Did you guys have any other savings?
So we do. He just got his Christmas bonus, so we have. I think it's around. It's almost $2,500. Not to be exact. I need to see, but I think it's almost $2,500.
Okay, so I would take $1,000 out of that and have for your starter emergency fund. That'll be baby step one. And then once the truck is sold and you have a couple of thousand, maybe you save up a little bit more. But again, I'm telling you, Crystal, this is not a pretty truck. You're not going to be just saving till the day is long for this thing. Like, you're going to get something quick, something inexpensive that you can pay for. And then you guys are going to do a written budget together, and you're going to start squeezing out, because you guys have been, this is not to shame you, but I know it because we get these calls all the time. It's just kind of we just live in life. We're kind of just doing it. The money's going in, the money's going out. We don't have any control. I mean, you're going to know like the back of your hand exactly what every bill is, what the utilities are, what you're paying for groceries and food. Like, you are really, really going to tighten this up. And then you're going to be able to look and say, okay, man, we are going out to dinner here. We're taking that money and throwing it at the credit card. What I would have done shopping, we're going to throw it at the credit card. All of his swiping, because he's just kind of done with that. That's all going to the credit card. I mean, you guys are going to buckle down, and you guys can do this. I mean, that $13,000, you can pay this off. Crystal, you guys can do this. This is not a hopeless situation, but it's the behavior that I'm most concerned about with you guys, right? The idea that it was we're kind of in and out. We kind of want it, we kind of don't. But once you got it, and if you guys commit, Crystal, if you guys commit 18 months of your life, your entire financial trajectory will change. I'm telling you right now.
I'm fired up. I might sell this truck for them if they don't. I'm pumped. Have you guys been through Financial Peace University?
The reason I'm so sorry. No, we have not. I actually just bought the book through Amazon, and it's supposed to be here soon. It's what is it? The one where he's shredding the credit card.
The Total Money Makeover.
But yes, there you go. Sorry.
That's
I just purchased that book, but no, we haven't done this. Yeah. So haven't done the Financial Peace University yet.
Yeah, so maybe Ramsey Plus, were you going to gift that to them, George?
You know what? On top of the book, since you already got that, I want to gift you guys a year membership to Ramsey Plus. While you're reading the book, watch the videos in Financial Peace University, and it's also going to give you access to our premium every dollar budgeting tool, like Rachel talked about. You guys got to get on a written plan. You got to meet weekly at this point and go, where are we spending money? We got to track this thing. We're not going to go above what we said we're going to go, and this debt's going to get paid off really fast. I mean, it's $13,000, making $54,000. You guys could do this. This is not impossible, but it's going to take some sacrifice.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I needed to hear that. And actually, he's going to be getting a raise. Come January, he'll be making $5,200 a month. So he's like, we need to do this. And I think that's even a bigger eye-opener for him. So.
That's right.
Awesome.
Don't let the lifestyle creep happen, Crystal.
No.
I know it's not going to for you. I hear it in your voice. But, man, throw all that at the debt, and you guys get out of debt quickly.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Hang on. Jen is going to pick up, and she'll get you guys hooked up with a Ramsey Plus membership. Call us back when you're debt-free. We'd love to hear it. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day comes from Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Alexander Graham Bell once said, "Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work in hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus." Open phones this hour. The number is 888-825-5225. Justin joins us in Denver, Colorado. Justin, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, huge fan. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Great to have you. How can we help today?
So I'm just kind of looking for some financial advice. So I'm 24, have a good-paying job, no debt, make around 70 to 75 a year. I have about 8 months in an emergency fund, and I try to invest around $1,000 a month into both my IRAs as well as S&P tracking ETFs.
Okay.
So my main question is, I'm looking to buy a house, but the houses in my area are way out of my price zone, and I don't want to stop investing because I love, the personal satisfaction of throwing money in the market every single month. So I don't want to get in a position where I'm only putting 5 to 10% down on the house, but
with the prices of houses in the area, it's looking like that would be the only realistic, percentage of that I could put down. But then I'm also fearing that in the next 5 to 10 years, where I could save up to a 20%, the interest rates are going to be so high that I'll, mathematically lose out on the benefit of buying now.
Yeah, I understand your fear. And first of all, you're crushing it, man. Way to go. 24 years old, debt-free, solid emergency fund. You're investing, making great income. If I'm in your shoes, here's how I'm thinking about this. You live in a very expensive area, Denver, Colorado. And so your options are, you've got some options here when you're in this spot. You don't have to go zero on the retirement. You can split the difference and go, I'm going to lower the retirement and save up. Or you can just keep investing 15% and be a little more patient and save up. And when it comes time for you to find a place, it's really not about interest rate. I don't want you thinking about the fear of what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, because we don't know.
You just don't know.
I mean, it dropped to an all-time low in 2020. I mean, yeah, we don't know. You don't know.
So unless you have a magic ball that you're hiding from us, here's how I'm thinking about it. You're ready to buy a house when you're ready to buy a house, which means you can afford it. And we've got some great parameters that make it really clear. We say, hey, get a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage where the payment is no more than a quarter of your take-home pay, and we want you to put 10 to 20% or more down. If you do it that way, then you can afford whatever house you're looking at if it falls into those parameters. And however long it takes to get there, you've got to be okay with that, especially if you're saying, hey, I really value investing. I don't want to stop that. That's great. But that does mean it may take a few more years to save up for the house that you want in Denver, Colorado. Now, that doesn't mean you're stuck. You can move. I don't know what you do for work. Maybe one day you don't live in Denver and there's a lower cost of living area and you can afford a house there. Your income will go up over time, probably, and you can save up even more. And so there are things that you can do to kind of counteract this, but you're 24. There's no rule that says you have to have a home at 24. And I understand you feel like, do you feel like you're wasting money on rent right now?
Oh, yeah, it hurts. Yeah, I'm paying around $800 a month. And it's just, just going to a sunk cost, it definitely hurts.
Yeah, which totally understand. But like George said, after those parameters are kind of met around the home buying process, that's when the home really is a gift. And it's like, okay, I can enjoy this. Before that, if you go in too quickly, you'll realize, okay, the cost of a house is expensive. The heating and air goes out. I got to replace this. I got to replace that. I got to do the yard work. The closing costs. I mean, there's just so many fees, so much that goes into owning a home. So you want to factor that into to give yourself just a little bit of that like breathing room of, okay, I'm renting. But it's not, people think like, oh, renting is just throwing your money away, which I understand. But also, if you get yourself in a really bad situation in a home, that's going to be far worse financially than renting for 24 more months. So take your time, Justin. You're doing great. You're doing great. And I would run the numbers. It sounds like you're very on top of what's going on. But just run the numbers and say, okay, what if I paused investing for 24 months? Because you have plenty of time to invest, okay? And say, yeah, what if I focused all my energy on this house, and how fast could I be? Or what George said, split the difference. Then how long would it take to save up for a down payment? Or say, you know what if I just throw a bunch of invest and I don't think about this for another year and I come back around to it, right? You have options, but you're going to do great, Justin. You're incredible. 24 years old, very sharp.
He's going to be a multimillionaire either way. It's just whatever path you want to take to get there. Thanks for the question. And we do have a great episode of The Fine Print featuring my friend Rachel Cruz. If you want to check that out, you can go to fineprintpodcast.com. And it's called, Is Now the Worst Time to Buy a House? And me and Rachel have this conversation. I talk with experts. We hear real stories. And it really helps give people a little bit of pause and go, just breathe.
Yes.
Okay, here's what's going on in the market. Here's what I need to know. Here's how I know if I'm ready to jump into that.
That's right.
So thanks for the question. All right, Aaron joins us down the road here in Nashville, Tennessee. Aaron, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
Yeah, so me and my wife are in baby step 4 and 5. And over the past year, my job wasn't too stable, so my wife and I went into saving mode. Fast forward to today, got a new job. It's very stable, but we have about $80,000 to $90,000 above our emergency fund sitting in a savings account. And we have a dilemma on what to do. My wife wants to fully fund my son's college fund. Well, I think it'd be better to kind of put it all on the house and get that paid off sooner and just continue to put monthly into our son's college. Seeing what you guys thought.
So you have one kid?
Yes, just one kid. He's 4.5.
4.5. That's adorable. All right. What's on the mortgage?
I already know what I would say.
$155,000.
$155 in the mortgage. Okay, I'm going to let Rachel say hers, but I will answer honestly after she's done. We'll see if it lines up. This is exciting.
Oh, yeah. Aaron, I love your wife's heart, and I appreciate her willingness to throw money at the college fund. I would still put some money in there, but I would throw a big old chunk of this at the house, if not all of it. He's 4. Now, if he was 15, this would probably be a totally different discussion. But you guys are going to have plenty of time. If you think about what you would pay in a mortgage and put that into the college fund every month, with a paid for house with no risk, all of it's going to work out. So mine would be the house. George, I can't wait to hear
stole the words
what you are going to say.
Right out of my mouth. Stole my thunder. I am 100% with Rachel on this. And I always ask the age because I got to know, do you have time for this money to sit there and grow? And you've got 14 years to save for a thing that may or may not happen. And we don't know what college they'll go to and if they'll get scholarships.
Or what college is going to look like in 10 years.
But here's what we do know. You've got a big old mortgage payment that you could get rid of, and you could be over halfway done with it with the remaining balance today. And so that's what I'm doing.
How's that feel, Aaron?
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Tell your wife I'm for her, though, in life. Even though we disagreed with her decision.
It wasn't a huge disagreement.
We love her.
And it's not, there's no crazy right or wrong here, but I like to look at the time frames and go, all right, the kid's 4, they've got a long way to go. Yeah. They're probably going to be okay. And guess what? Once you have that house paid for in a few years, now we can really save up for college.
Absolutely.
And if it's looking like they want to go to this school and we want to pay cash for it, you'll be able to do that because you haven't had a mortgage payment in a decade.
And what a great job, Aaron. I mean, the idea of even just with the uncertainty of everything that happened, his job was uncertain, so they kind of just paused, buckled down, just put some cash away. What that does, I mean, instead of just living and just not knowing what's going on, I mean, to really focus and have money. Money's not the end all be all, but it gives you options. It gives you the ability to say, okay, now what do we want to do with this? It's a powerful thing. So Aaron, great job to you and your wife. You guys were really disciplined in a really tough year. So great job.
Yeah. Fun hour, Rachel.
I know, George. Thanks for hosting with me. I loved it.
It's great to be in the pilot's chair with you. This is good times. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. Our thanks to James Childs, our producer, Jenna Sears, screening on the phones today, and you, America. We can't do the show without amazing listeners like you, and we're grateful you joined us today. This is The Ramsey Show.
Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.